Hello everyone, this is Abiodun Mustafa. Today we will be learning how to compute your GPA and CGPA as an undergraduate student in Nigeria, how to compute your grade point average and cumulative grade point average as an undergraduate student in Nigeria. Like I said, my name is Abiodun Mustafa. I am a lecturer in one of the universities in Nigeria, and a lot of the times I get the questions where people get into 100, 300 level, in fact, even up to final year, and they still don't know how their grade point average and cumulative grade point average is calculated. And some people just assume it's just the normal way, like they left secondary school and things just keep happening the same way. But there is a difference between how it is done while you were in pre-tertiary institution and while you come into the tertiary institution system. So I will be relating basically to the Nigerian students, the Nigerian audience, or those who are looking towards getting admission into any university in Nigeria. Though basically there are some tweak, but there is a vast majority of how this thing is being done. And as we will continue, I will begin to explain where the differences begin to happen. So if you are someone who is looking towards getting admission into a polytechnic, into a university, or maybe into the college of education. So this video so applies to you, and I will really advise that you pay attention, you listen, you pay rapt attention, and you ensure that you are able to get the best from this video. And what you would be learning so much today would go a very long way to really help you advance yourself, to help you stay really prepared, to allow you pay attention to being excellent in your academics, to allow you pay out attention in getting the best out of your studies in the tertiary institution. Now, someone may be asking, why this video? Why do I need to do this video? Oh, and somebody may just say, oh, is it not just about reading, writing exam, taking tests, and just making sure I'm doing well? The truth really is that if you do not know what you're working towards, you would not know even when you get it, and you would not know how well to prepare to get in it. So why this video? Number one, because there's a popular request from undergraduate students in Nigeria. So I get a lot of these requests, people trying to say, oh, please, can you teach me how to calculate GPA? Can you teach me how to calculate CGPA? In fact, recently, this is the 17th of July 2021, I had a project student who was actually telling me to teach him how to compute GPA. And this is somebody who has gone through about 3 years, 3 sessions on the campus. And a lot of times I even interact with undergraduate students and I seem to ask them, do you know how to calculate GPA? And they will see someone who is reading, who has done semesters on the campus, who does not know how to compute CGPA or the GPA. And then number two, because some know about this too late. A lot of people know about this too late. You imagine somebody being at part three, at part four, and yet does not know how CGPA is computed. The person just hears, oh, I have a 3.2, I have a 2.5, I have a 4.1, but they really do not know what it means. And at the end of the day, you see people who are given the certificate, oh, you have a first class, you have a second class upper, you have a second class lower, you have a third class, and at the end of the day, they seem not to even know how they came about all of this. So it's very essential and it's very important that you know this early. And for me as a person, I knew about computing GPA even before I went for my bachelor's of science degree. So I knew about it, and it helped me to know how well to really work concerning each of those courses, where to put my effort, and then I was able to really perform very, very, very well. So I performed with over a 4.3. I finished with over a 4.3 in my bachelor's degree, and I think a lot of people really want to do better, and it's better you know all about this early. And if you have not gotten admission yet, you're preparing to get admission, you're preparing to write the post UTME before you get to the campus. Oh, that's amazing. So it's a very, very good way to start. Number three, there are a lot of misunderstanding around the terms that are being used. So I will be talking about certain terms. I would explain them critically, and I would ensure that you have so much of knowledge from this video. And then number four, differentiating between the secondary and tertiary school system. You know, in the secondary school system, all you really need to do to progress and do well is just to have a credit. So if you see a lot of requirements towards getting into the campus, they will tell you if you can have minimum of a credit in maths and English and three other relevant subjects, then you'll be granted admission, or then you would have all of those things. But it's a different ball game in the tertiary school system. In the secondary school, there was always the strive around, oh, I just want to have the first, be the second. At least I should not be amidst the last in the class. I should not be amidst those who are in the lowest grade in the class. So you will get promotion. In the university school system, you can keep getting promoted and yet you are really failing. So you can move from 100 level to 200 level and yet have diverse carryover and assume that you are doing very well. So there's a different ball game entirely to how this is computed. Now, what are the key terms? Number one, course units. You will notice that a lot of your courses while you were in the institution, so there's something called course units. Each of those courses have something called their strength power. Okay, so I call course unit strength power. So a lot of those courses have their strength power. So you see course unit like, oh, this is a 1 unit course, this is a 2 unit course, this is a 3 unit course, this is a 4 unit course, this is a 6 unit course. Those course units are talking about the strength of that course, and they are making you know that a lot of those higher unit courses, you need to pass them very, very well if you really want to finish with a very, very good grade. Okay, if you want to finish with a good grade, you must pass those higher course units very well, and you must pay a lot of attention to reading them intentionally and ensuring that you do very well at them. Why? Because that what you come up with, the course that you seem to have, will determine what you would finish with eventually. So course unit has to do with the strength attached to a certain course and the level of importance that you need to give to each of your courses. So you should give attention more to a 3 unit course than a 2 unit course, to a 4 unit course than a 3 unit course, to a 2 unit course than a 1 unit course, because what you seem to get, depending on the strength, will determine what you eventually finish with. Number two has to do with grade points. So I would explain that. So when somebody scores an 80, what's the grade point attached to it? When somebody scores a 50, what's the grade point attached to it? Unlike in secondary school, when you score 50 and you say, oh, now I passed, and you begin to celebrate. It's not the same ball game, because 50 in secondary school used to be passed, but 50 in the university means something entirely. And I will show you in the next slide. So grade unit has to do with what each of your score is being attached to. So for example, when somebody scores between a 70 and an 100, it is the same grade point. When somebody scores 70, sorry, and somebody scores 80, it is the same grade point that they have. When somebody scores 60 and somebody scores 69, it is the same grade point that they have. You know, in secondary school, we used to have A1, B2, B3, C4, C5, C6, D7, E8, and then F9. But in university, we have just 5 grade points. Though there are some universities that make use of 7. I know of the University of Ibadan where they make use of grade point from 1 to 7, but generally, vast of the universities in Nigeria make use of the grade point from 1 to 5. So I would explain how that works in the next slide. Now, the next thing is total course unit. So TCU, your total course unit has to do with the total number of unit for all the courses you are offering in a particular semester, or the total course unit of all the courses you have offered thus far. So when we are calculating the cumulative grade point average, that's CGPA, we make use of all the total course unit from the beginning when you started gain admission into the school till the present time that you are in. But when we are calculating GPA, we make use of just the total course unit for a particular semester. So the total, I would explain that later on, so you can be very, very patient with me. So all the total course unit for all your courses you are offering, we look for the total. And then total grade point has to do with the grade points. By the time we begin to compute grade point for each of the things that you got, what's the total that we seem to come up with? I would explain that. So total grade point average. Grade point average has to do with what's your grade point average for the current semester that you have just concluded. Okay, what's the grade point average for the current semester that you have just concluded. Cumulative grade point average has to do with what's the grade point average from the time you get admission to the current semester that you have just concluded. Okay, from the time you get admission to the current semester that you have just concluded. And then grade class has to do with, did you finish with a first class? I will tell you how that is done. A second class upper, a second class lower, a third class, or probably a pass. Now, let me explain grade point. Grade point very quickly. Vast of the universities in Nigeria make use of this. So when somebody has from 70 to 100, that's an A, and that is 5 points. A is 5 points. When somebody scores between 60 and 69, that's a B, and that is 4 points. When somebody scores between 50 and 59, that's a C, that's 3 points. So the grade point when somebody scores between 50 and 59 is 3 points. And when somebody scores between 45 to 49, that is 2. Okay, that's D, and that is 2 points. And when somebody at this current time, though there seems to be a change, which if there are times and then I get a proper understanding on that, I would really tell you the changes that have happened and I would need to upload a new video. So when somebody scores less than 45, that's an F, and that is 0. So what I mean by when somebody scores less than 45, I mean when somebody scores from 0 to 44. So when somebody scores from 0 to 44, it means that person had an F. So you will see that it's a different ball game entirely. While in secondary school, if somebody has 45, that's a D7, but that's yes, D7. Yeah, I think D7 or probably around 40. But in the university system, if somebody scores between 0 to 44%, that's 0 points. Okay, that's 0 points. So you should understand. Though currently there is a review because the NUC, like I learned at this current time, 17th of July 2021, it might change later on, but the principles are entirely the same. I learned that they would begin to give student pass. All right, people will begin to have certificates with just a pass, which I don't advise anyone watching me right now to be working towards to. So, which means if there is a pass, so if somebody scores between 40 and 44, the person would have an E, and that would be 1 point. But at the current time, currently at this time, this is what majority of universities in Nigeria work with. Now, let's begin to take a practical example because I'm a computer science lecturer. I'm a lecturer of computer science in one of the universities. So I would be using some of the courses that has to do with computing. Okay, because this is vastly what I'm used to. Though the principles are the same, irrespective of what department you are in. Maybe agric economics, maybe animal breeding and genetics, economics, accounting, mass communication, theater arts, or journalism, irrespective of the courses, this is what plays here. Now, this is a particular course called CMP 101, and the course unit, like I told you, course unit has to do with the strength. Okay, the priority expected that a student give to that course is 3 units. CMP 105 is 2 units, CMP 103 is 3 units, 10 MTS 101 3, MTS 103 3, star 101 2, GST 101 1 unit. Okay, now you will notice that in your first semester, and take note, I'm dealing with part one. So, part one here is, for example, somebody is in 100 level. So, the reason why I'm using part one is because in the Polytechnic, they make use of ND1, ND2. So, their part one is like ND1, their part two is like ND2. In the university, they make use of 100 level. Okay, so their part one is 100 level, part two is 200 level, part three is 300 level, like that and like that. So some people run a 4 year course, some 3 year course, some 5 years course, some 6 years, so like that, some 7 years in med school. So like I was saying, so this is the course unit, all right, that we have. Now, if you want to know the total course unit, the TCU, total course unit, what do? We find the total of this, of all these courses, the total unit of all these courses. So we have 3 plus 2, that's 5, plus 3, that's 8, plus 3, that's 11, plus 3, that's 14, plus 2, that's 16, plus 1, that's 17. So it means the total course unit for this particular student is 17 units. Is 17 units. Now, let's assume in a particular course, for example, in CMP 101, this student scored, let's say, 88. In CMP 105, this student scored 55. In CMP 103, let's say this student had 45. In MTS 101, let's say this student had 55. In MTS 103, this student had 72. In Star 101, this student had 66. In GST 101, let's say this student had 78. Now, like I said, from our grade point explanation, like you can see, we have 5, 4, 3, 2, and 0. So it means in this particular course, this particular person, 8 is 5 points, 55 is 3 points, 45 is 2 points, 55 is 3 points, 77 is 5 points, 66 is 4 points, 78 is 5 points. So this is actually the grade point that that student has. Okay. So what's the grade? So this is an A, this is a C, this is a D, this is a C, this is an A, this is a B, this is an A. Now, grade point will now be, we multiply the course units by the grade point. So we have multiplied the course units by the points of the score that the student have. So what do we have? We have 3 times 5, which is 15, 2 times 3, which is 6, 3 times 2, which is 5, 3 times 3, which is 9, 3 times 5, which is 15, 2 times 4, which is 8, 1 times 5, which is 5. So we then look for a total grade point. So we look for a total grade point. So in looking for a total grade point, what we do is that we begin to calculate the total of all of this. So the total here is what we begin to compute. So what do? We do 15 plus 6 plus 5 plus 9 plus 15 plus 8 plus 5. So that gives us 63. That gives us 63. So the total grade point of this student is 63. Now, how do we compute the GPA? So in computing the GPA, what we do is we then divide the total grade point by the total course unit, which is 63 divided by 17. 63 divided by 17, which will give us 63 divided by 17. That gives us 3.71. So because the GPA, CGPA is calculated in 2 decimal points, so it means for that particular semester, the GPA of that student is 3.71. So the current GPA is 3.71. Now, because this is the first result that we are computing for this student, because this is the first result we are computing for this student, his GPA is 3.71. His cumulative GPA is also 3.71. So I hope you understand and I hope you really, really get that. Now, let's move to second semester of this particular student. Second semester of this particular student. Now, let's assume in second semester, these are the courses the student is offering and these are the course units. So let's begin to attach score to it. Let's say the student had 66. Let's say this is 77. Let's say this is 45. Let's say this is 88. Let's say this is 32. Let's say this is 67. Let's say this is 90. Now, don't forget our grades. So this is B. This is an A. This is a D. This is an A. This is an F. This is 67. That is a B. This is an A. All right. Now let's put a point in front. Remember, B is 4 points, B is 4 points, A is 5 points, okay? D is 2 points, A 5 points, this is 0, this is 4, this is 5. So let's begin to have the grade point now. So we have 3 times 4 is 12, 2 times 5 is 10, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 5 is 15, 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 4 is 8, 5 times 1 is 5. So let's look for the total course unit. 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 3 is 8, plus 3 is 11, plus 2 is 13, plus 2 is 15, plus 1 is 16. So the total course unit is 16, total grade points. Let's compute. So we have 12 plus 10 plus 6 plus 15 plus 0 plus 8 plus 5 equals 56. 56. So now, what was the previous GPA? So let's go back to the first semester. So the previous GPA is 3.71. So the previous GPA of that student is 3.71. So what's the current GPA? Like you know, total grade point divided by total course unit. So we have 56 divided by 16, which is equals to 56 divided by 16. 6 divided by 16 equals 3.50. So that it means for that current semester, the student had a 3.50. Previously, the student had 3.71. Now, how do we get the cumulative? So this is how you get the cumulative. We look for the total grade points of all the semester the student has done, which is first semester and second semester, divided by the total course unit that the student has offered so far. So for the first semester, the total grade point is 63. So we have 63 plus, for this current semester, that's 56, okay, divided by, what was the total course unit for the previous time? 17, okay, 17. So divided by 17 plus this current semester, which is 16. So which means what we would have is 63 plus 63 plus 59, that's 119, divided by 17 plus 16, which is 33. So it means the cumulative grade point of that student is 119 divided by 33, which means the student has a 3.61. 3.61. So it means his previous GPA was 3.71, his current GPA is 3.5, and his cumulative GPA is 3.61. Okay, why did he reduce from 3.71 to 3.61? Because of what he had currently. If he had the ability to increase if he increased his GPA in this current semester, what happens to the CGPA is that it increases. Okay, it increases. So you look at that again, GPA 3.71 for this particular semester. How do you do it? Grade total grade point divided by total course units. And then, so we said the CGPA was still 3.71 because his current, the only semester he has had is just only one, and then his cumulative remains the same. And then the previous, like I said, the current 3.5, the cumulative 3.61. So don't mistake them for each other. At times you go to the notice board, you check your result, or probably sent to you online, and you begin to notice, oh, why was it? I had this before. Why is that now? And you must understand that your class grade is not determined by your current GPA, it is determined by your cumulative GPA. Okay, your class grade is not determined by your current GPA, it is determined by your cumulative GPA. So if previously you had like say 3.40, and then in the last semester you now have 5.0, your cumulative GPA is not 5.0. Your cumulative GPA is a accumulation of all that you have done in the past till the present time. So that's why people say, what happened? I didn't have first class. I had 3.4 before, and this semester I can see 5.0, and you are rejoicing around. No, you only rejoice by your cumulative because your cumulative determines what appears on your result. What appears on your result. So what happens if we have a third semester? So this is part one, 100 level, first semester, second semester. Now let's assume this student now came into 200 level. Okay, so probably this is the last I would be using to explain, and then I would end from there. So let's assume, so you would see that other levels courses started with 10 something, 10 something, 11 something, and they always end, they end always with an odd number. Okay, for first semester, they always end with an odd number. 101, 105, 103, 101, 103, 101, 101. Okay, you'll notice that second semester they always end with an even number: 102, 104, 102, 102, 104, 102, 104. Okay, second semester. Now we came into first semester part two. You would always see that majority of your 200 level courses starts with 2, CMP2, 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 MTS2, 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 and because it's first semester, they always end with an even number. Okay, now let's calculate the total course unit here: 3 plus 3, 6, plus 3, 9, plus 3, 12, plus 3, 15, plus 3, 18, plus 2, 20. So the total course unit for that student, first semester part 2, is 20. So let's say the score that the student has here. Let's look at the score that the student had here. Let's just pick random courses. Let's say 80, 77, 66, 76, 67, 88, and 57. Okay, so what's the grade here? A, B, A, B, A, and C. So what's A? Don't forget 5 points. A again, 5 points. B, 4 points. A, 5 points. B, 4 points. A, 5 points. C, 3 points. Okay, so let's calculate the grade points now. So 3 times 5 is 15, 3 times 5 is 15, 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 5 is 15, 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 5 is 15, 2 times 3 is 6. So let's calculate the total grade point now. That's 15 plus 15 plus 12 plus 15 plus 12 plus 15 plus 6. So it means we have 90. Wow, 90. So grade point is 90. Now, what was the previous GPA of this student? The previous GPA was 3.50. Okay, the previous GPA was 3.50. Okay, so the previous GPA was, so we use the cumulative 3.61. So we come here, we have previous is 3.61. Okay, so what will be the current now? Remember, total grade point divided by total course unit. So we have 90 divided by what? 20. So that gives us 4.50. Now, I will be sharing with you briefly why we had the difference. 3.7. How did that happen? 3.7. Here we had 3.5. Here we had 4.5. Okay. So now let's calculate the cumulative. So we go over it again. First semester, what was the total? 63. That's 100 level first semester, 63. 100 level second semester, 56. 200 level first semester, 90. So let's take that: 63, 56, 90. Okay, 63 plus 56 plus 90. Okay, so all the total grade point in the past, okay, is what we use, divided by total course unit from the past, 17. So we have 17 here, we have 16 here, and we have 20. So 17, 16, and 20. So we have 17 plus 16 plus 20. So what will be the GPA of this student now? So we have 63. We have 63. Okay. So follow me. We have 63 plus 56 plus 90. So that gives us 209 divided by, so all the total course unit, remember this is for 100 level first semester, 100 level second semester, 100 level, 100 level, so 200 level first semester. Okay, so this is 33 plus 22, that's 55. Okay, so we'll go 209 divided by 55 divided by 55. So that's 3.8. 3.80. Okay, so the GPA of this student for 3 semesters, that's the cumulative grade point average for 3 semesters is 3.80, is 3.80. So it means, yeah, the student started with a 3.71, continued, and in this semester 3.5, then the GP dropped to 3.61, okay, because of the current. And then in this semester it went up to 3.8. Why? Because in that current semester it's not at 4.5. Now let me tell you something you need to take note. Now look at all the higher unit courses. This is a course unit of 3, the student had A year. A course unit of 2, the student had C year. Course unit of 3, the student had D year. Course unit of 3, the student had C. Now, if imagine the student had A in all the 3 unit courses, this GPA would have increased very well. And that's what you'll find between this semester and this semester. Look, 3 unit courses, the student had A, B, A, B, A. In just 2 unit courses, the student had C. And yet the student was still able to have a 4.5. That's because if you have an higher score in your higher unit courses, there's a likely chance that you'd have a very good GPA. Okay, you'd have a very good GPA. Now, let's assume this student has finished now, and at the end of finishing the entire school, if a student has between 4.5 and 5.0, that's a first class. Okay, generally, this is what stands. I know in UI they make use of 7 points, so if a student has between 6.0 and 7.1, that's a first class, and they have a grading system. But majority of university makes use of this grading system. So if you eventually finish with a 4.5, between a 4.5 and 5.0, that's a first class. If you finish within a 3.5 and 4.49, that's a second class upper. If you finish with between a 2.5 to 3.49, that's a second class lower. If you finish with between a 2.0 and 2.49, that's a third class. Okay, so currently with the review of NUC, this video is done in July. This video is done in July 2021. Okay, so things might change at your own time when you're watching this video, but currently this is what stands. So if somebody finished with less than the 2.0, the school will begin to place the student on probation with before the person gets to final year, or they will tell the person to withdraw. Okay, but if the 1 point system is still holding, the person that finished with between a 1.0 and 1.99 will be given a pass. But currently, if you have less than a 2.0, you'll be withdrawn from the university, and before you get to final year, they'll probably put you on probation. So I hope you have gotten so much from this video on how to compute your GPA and CGPA as an undergraduate student in Nigeria. So I don't know if you have any questions so far from what have been shared. I hope this video is very clear and it's very, very explicit. So if you still have any question, you can drop your questions in the comment section and I will do well to answer them. If there's any part of it that is not clear, just drop your questions. And if you still need me to do any video, just put your suggestion in the comment section and I will come up and do that video. It's entirely free. I'm not charging for this. It's to really help the Nigerian students to do better in the academics and prepare for opportunities ahead. I'm telling you, there are a lot of opportunities if you perform excellently well with in your academics during your undergraduate days. There are a lot of opportunities, scholarship opportunities, the opportunities that sometimes you need to access them, but because you didn't know how these things are calculated, and you now find out that you did not meet up to what is required. So when you know how this is done, it prepares you to really define and prepare your future very well. Please like this video, and I plead with you to subscribe and turn up the notification button. And please, you can also share this with all your friends, those who are in their pre-varsity days, those who are preparing for school, those who are undergraduate students. Please share this with them and let them watch this video, and prepare a definite future for themselves and for the academic career. I sincerely appreciate you and I thank you so much for watching. My name is Abiodun Mustafa. Please, one more time, don't forget to subscribe. Bye bye.